Hello, I'm Sydney.
And I'm Melanie.
And this is Drawntaneous.
Today we're going to be doing another themed episode because Sydney and I went out and saw Promare twice.
So far.
We saw it twice so far with plans to go seeing it again in December.
Oh, yes.
So we're dating this episode. You'll be able to tell roughly. But yeah, we really enjoyed Promare. We want to talk about it. And we're going to make Sydney draw characters from Promare. And you're challenged to draw them as if they were in the Pokemon universe.
Amazing.
Yep. Enjoy that. Gosh, I specifically am super in love with Promare. Like, Sydney likes to bring up to people when we talk about this movie. It's a movie, by the way. Promare's a movie. It is made by
Studio
Trigger, who did Kill la Kill and Gurren Lagann. And I actually never really watched any of Studio Trigger's previous work. I know my brother was really into Gurren Lagann. And I'm probably saying that kind of strangely, because I don't really hear other people say that anime's name.
I think Gurren Lagann is correct.
Okay, cool. Excellent. But so, my first experience with, like, being exposed to Promare was I was getting a lot of Instagram ads and Twitter ads because it was showing in Seattle. So, I was like, okay, this looks interesting, but I have no idea what's going on based on these advertisements. It looks cool. It looks pretty tight, but, like, I don't know what this is. And then we found out that Promare was going to stop showing. We originally thought it was going to stop showing early October. So I'm like, okay, you know what? It's here. It's in the nice reserved seating theater with, like, the leather seats and, like, the reclining chairs and blah, 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 with, like, a max occupancy of, like, 50 viewers or whatever. So I'm like, okay, let's do this. The price is right. We don't have to worry about waiting in line to get good seats. They're going to be comfortable seats. It'll be great. I don't think it's a 4X theater, but it's like, it's not an IMAX theater either. Do you remember what that theater is called?
I don't know. I just refer to it as the comfy theater.
It's the comfy theater. It has surround sound, reclining chairs, like really good video quality. So it's that one, but it's not like the 4DX, which I've heard is hilarious. But yeah, we went into the theater, we sat down, and like, I just remember the opening is super heavy. Like I kind of understood what the premise was because it was being advertised as like firefighters using mechs to combat mutants who can use fire. Like, that was roughly the idea that we were told, I think. Would you agree? That was like kind of...
I just knew it was about hot firefighters.
Yeah. And
like a guy in BDSM gear.
Yeah. And like, I saw pictures of like what they did for the Japanese premiere, where they had male models in like crop tops in the firefighter uniform, and I'm just like, this is great. This is like exactly what I want from my marketing. But yeah, the opening was super heavy, and I was just like, oh god, okay.
This was not the fun romp I was promised.
Yeah, it's like, it's played like a war documentary for the first 5 minutes or so, just to get the exposition going. And then the song Inferno kicks in, and then I'm like, oh shit, this is gonna be lit. Pun intended. Like, it immediately just gets you pumping and like gets you really excited for the movie. And you go right into a fight scene, that very first fight scene. And like, God, it went from like 0 to 60 really fast. And I instantly was like, God, I love this music. This is great. This is awesome. What was your first impression of it, Sydney?
I mean, the animation definitely. Just like, the opening has stellar animation, and I was immediately
beautiful.
just like, yes, I'm happy. Because, like, I have a love-hate relationship with animated stuff right now, just because, like, everyone's like, hey, you know what everyone wants to see in their animated movies? They want a close-up detail of clothing that you're not even going to notice.
It's like hyper-realism.
Yeah, everyone wants to do hyper-realism, and I hate it, because, like, that's not the point of animation. If you want hyper-realism, just watch live action, which is boring to begin with.
Anyways, Promare. Sydney.
Yes.
Promare.
Yes.
Refocus.
Right. So they do a really cool thing with 2D and 3D where they use the 3D to enhance what would be difficult to do in just regular hand-drawn animation. So, like, a lot of the environments are rendered in 3D, so they can do a lot of really good panning shots.
Yeah, that's the thing I noticed in, like, old animes, is that the reason why during fight scenes they just have that generic background is because it would be hard to animate the environment you're in.
Fuck yeah.
So I'm like, oh, that's why those exist. And, like, that was a recent epiphany for me. Like, a recent revelation of, oh, that makes so much sense now.
I mean, that's fair, because, like, I went to school for animation,
yeah.
so, like...
No, I don't fault them for it. I was
Yeah.
just like, oh, I understand. That is the use of this background. But in Promare, they don't do that. They can just, like, rotate the camera in real time and animate the characters as they're moving through this 3D environment.
Well, and they also use 3D for the characters themselves, which, like, saves them time.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it should be used for.
So could you give me, because I don't have the eye for this, can you give me an example of what was done in 2D and what was done in 3D within the same shot of, like, say, that opening, either during Inferno where, like, it's the montage of them getting ready to go fight the fire, or, like, during the fight itself?
Specifically, I would say it's after the fight where, whoever, like, the douche squad shows up.
Oh, Freeze Force.
Yeah, Freeze Force shows up, and there's a shot where Gallo, the firefighter character,
The main character.
with the
The
mohawk,
blue hair.
the blue hair mohawk man,
The himbo.
yes, he's standing up to Freeze Force because they're taking credit for the work they had already done, and he gets lifted by the face, but he still has, like, his arms crossed and his legs like that's a 3D model, and they're spinning around them while they're doing this confrontation, but when it zooms in on the faces are still, like, hand drawn.
Okay.
And, like, a lot of the shots in the mechs are 3D as well.
Right.
They render the models really well so that they match the style. So,
Right.
like,
It isn't a jarring, like...
it's not a jarring transition. Like, I don't know, Sailor Moon Crystal.
I'm trying to think of, like, there was even another... I'm trying to think of, like, when 3D first started getting... Oh, no! Pokemon! Pokemon does it, where they have, like, their 3D models are very obviously, like, not part of the environment. And it's just... It's really frustrating.
Oh, yeah, that was kind of...
It looks really bad. And I think they do it more in the recent... in the recent TV series, they do it a lot. Where it's like, here is the, or no, any children's cartoon where they have cars and vehicles. Like, they'll animate the people and characters mostly in 2D, and then there's a jarring, like, oh my god, here's a truck coming through, and the truck is colored differently, and, like, all that stuff.
Nobody had quite learned how to do it yet. Which, I get it.
Yeah. But, like, in Promare, it's like a seamless, like, I couldn't tell. Like, I could intellectually be like, they probably did that in 3D because it would just be easier. But, like, I cannot see the seam between 3D and 2D in this movie.
Not like I can. Mm-hmm. Like, I could tell right away, but, like, it was also just nice to look at.
It was very, very visually appealing. Like, vaporwave, like, 80s,
it was fun.
Like, the aesthetic is great.
Now, so here's the thing, though.
The color palette is great.
Don't go in expecting a really intellectual movie. It's not. It's just
not.
fun.
It's fun. The plot is pretty straightforward.
At one point, they introduce a robot that is called the Deus Machina.
It's great.
It's magnificent.
It's great. And, like, oh, the payoff, though, for being able to anticipate these different plot points is so good. Because when the character, his name is Deus, it's like Professor Deus, and he's like, oh yeah, so I made this machine, and I'm just sitting there going like, oh my god, please, 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 and this, I named it the Deus Ex Machina. I'm just like, yes! And I think the entire...
Oh yeah, the theater exploded.
Everybody was laughing. Like, that was also another thing I appreciated, was in this movie specifically, both times we've gone, the audience has been super chill and, like, super, like, oh, this is great. Yeah, like, we're all in here together. We're all, like, yeah,
they're
we're
respectful, but, like, participation happened where it was appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
Like, applause for certain parts.
Yeah.
Like, There's a specific scene, I won't say what happens, but, like, everyone was like, yeah, when it happens.
It was so good. But, like, I do remember the first Deus Ex Machina reveal. We're just like, oh my god, they did it.
Super good.
It was just, like, they're very aware of what they are and what they're doing. The movie, the people who made the movie, like, we understand. We get it. We're not trying to make a masterpiece. We're just trying to make it fun.
Which is what more people should focus on when making movies. Yeah. Like, it's just like, have fun, damn it. Like, if you're gonna spend, like, 3 years of your life making something, like, enjoy it.
I also want to talk about the sound design in this movie.
I know you do.
Oh, it's so good. Like, most of the arrangements that are played in the movie are arrangements of Inferno, which is like old school back in the day. Characters in anime would have character songs that they would sing, while like Inferno is Gallo's character song, even if his voice actor doesn't sing it. Like, and so a character song is supposed to like embody what the character is about, and maybe like it may actually explicitly talk about certain aspects of the character's life or their mindsets and stuff. So like Inferno is from Gallo's point of view, and like, so it's a very big point, or a very big theme for the movie. The other arrangement that comes up a bunch is Leo's character theme, which is,
It's Nexus, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Ashes?
No. It's in Japanese. So it's the one song in Japanese that I cannot pronounce because I am not familiar enough with the song title. But Nexus is really good too. But, okay, no, I lied. Nexus and Ashes also have some very small, or maybe I'm misremembering.
Which, well, like...
Okay, so the song that plays when Leo goes all angry dragon mode,
I believe...
that is not Nexus. It's like... I'm gonna look it up. I'm just gonna look it up. Hang on. And like without sitting down and listening to the entire soundtrack again and like writing down, oh, this is Inferno, this is Nexus. Hang on. YouTube music. Because I have a playlist on YouTube. Kakusei? Kakusei, it's this one.
Alright, that's enough before we get a copyright strike.
You can cut this out. It's this one. It's the one that rocks really hard. It fucking like, it's so good. So there's like 2 to 3 themes that constantly are rearranged in this movie, which is great. They're all thematically linked to either Leo or Gallo. There's actually like a villain theme that also is in there, but it isn't as prominently featured. But they do a lot of like rock and like, not pop maybe, but like they have specific sounds. So like for the really emotional stuff, it turns into instrumental and piano. And then when it turns more techy, like technological stuff, they kind of go more into the chiptune area, which is amazing. I love it. But specifically, I want to talk about the use of like silence and quiet in the movie. Because there are some very specific points where like the sound cuts out entirely, or like the music gets really, really quiet.
So I'm gonna cut you off real quick. What? I need to look up Pokemon references.
Whoops! And we're back! I approve of your choices for these two.
Of course.
I'm sure there are people who see this episode will be like, oh, well, what about from this generation? Give Sydney a break. She only knows the first gen. She only knows the first gen really, really well. All the others are kind of outside of her purview.
Look, man, I was a poor kid. My Game Boy got stolen, so, like, I didn't get to play any more Pokemons until, like, I could buy my own
shit. When you had adult money.
Yeah.
But I think those are really excellent. Like, Gyarados almost kind of, like, has a Gallo aesthetic.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Like, that's why I picked it.
It's great. I wonder what a shiny Arcanine looks like if it's like a darker
I think
color.
it's green.
Oh, never mind. Forget that.
It's one of the ugly ones.
Never mind. Oh, that's a bummer because Growlithe is like a cute golden color.
Yeah, and...
Aww. Well, anyways, back to Promare. We were talking about the sound design and the use of silence and quiet. One of the very first moments of this is when... I mean, this entire episode is going to be very spoiler heavy. But it's when Leo is trying to resuscitate or, like, revive the Burnish girl who's dying. And, like, it gets really quiet and really soft during that point. And, like, to the point where you can hear them breathing because, like, he's trying to do CPR, essentially, for her using, like, Burnish magic powers. So you can hear his voice, or you can hear his breath as he's trying to breathe life back into her, literally.
Yeah.
Another one is like I'm not going to touch that scene because there's a very specific scene that I want to save for everybody who hasn't watched this yet. Like, so I'm not going to talk about that one in particular. But like when they save the world, it fades to black and it's silent.
It's great.
And then the sound slowly comes back in as the scene fades back in, but it's just like ambient bird song and stuff. So they have there's some very specific moments in this movie where like otherwise it's really like go, 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 go. Here's a lot of music where there's a lot of like action going. But then when you need that emotional space to breathe and calm down and like process what's going on, they respect that and they don't overproduce the sound. And like they either cut it out entirely or they bring it down really, really quiet with like an appropriately emotive piece that they play.
There was an interview with Miyazaki where he discusses that, where he describes it as ma, which is like the space between sound. And like it's brilliant.
Yeah, like you need a moment to process. Like, you can't be constantly bombarded with stuff.
Yeah.
And, like, be able to appropriately, like, absorb the emotional impact. So good. So good. The music is also just super good. Like, totally up my alley. I loved every single song. If the soundtrack was available easily to us, I would buy it in a heartbeat. But so far we've just been streaming it off of like YouTube videos and stuff. I guess it's on Spotify, but I don't have Spotify, so I'm waiting. I need to get my hand on that CD. What else, Sydney? What else do we want to talk about Promare?
Color design, so good.
Oh, actually, before we go into that really briefly, I really liked, there was an article there's been several articles, but I think it was the Mary Sue specifically.
Who always write super good shit.
They wrote a piece on Promare about the symbolism of the shapes used. Like, did you notice that the lens flare for the sun was a square?
Square, yeah. That they revisit a lot of polygonal shapes a lot.
So, like, the Burnish are represented mostly by triangles. The rest of society is represented mostly by squares. The machine that is able to defeat the bad guy is circular, and like the solution, like all of the solutions, like everything, like the resolution is done like circular, like it's more organic shapes. So that is fascinating. And then the fact that I don't remember the orientation of the triangle, but like that was a symbol used by the Nazis to denote homosexuals. So like, specifically it was a pink triangle, and I can't remember if it was pointing up or pointing down.
The pink triangle was upside down.
It was upside down,
yeah. Which
happens. Like it's in both orientations in the movie, but it was like specifically they're pink or pinkish purple triangles that they use in the movie. I'm just like, I see. Yes, okay. But like, it was mostly writing about how A, the geometric symbolism, but B, like Leo represents the self-actualization and like being your true self sort of thing. So like, no wonder this movie resonates really, really strongly with the queer community, because it's about being your true self and being authentic to yourself and not compromising just because society demands you to do something. And also obviously the oppression of said community. And like they highlighted line that Gallo said was like, well, can't you just stop burning stuff? And Leo responds like, do you think it's really that easy? So that was like really powerful. I really appreciated it. Oh, so good thematically. And then I forget what his name is. I think it's Sean. Oh, I feel really bad. I follow him on Twitter, but he was talking about how the movie is...
Shawn Mendes?
No, he's a journalist. He's a writer. He's the guy who has the Totodile avatar on Twitter. You would know him if he's also spoken about Voltron and stuff. But he's a journalist. Yes. He's a journalist, and he was saying how the movie is not explicitly queer, but it's queer friendly, which I agree. It doesn't bring attention to specifically the affection between the two male characters. Like, you can read it either way, but obviously I'm gonna read it as queer-coded, because
damn it, I
reasons.
want something.
Yeah, but like they never, it's a lot of times in Japanese media, like, and just like media in general, there's a lot of like no homo
stuff. And that has to do with their censorship laws in
yeah.
particular, which is disappointing.
Yeah. Well, I'm not even talking about that. Like, there's actually like, oh my god, no, I wasn't just about to kiss a boy. Like, bah! Like, overreaction. Oh, yeah. Like,
the entirety of Free.
Yeah. So there's a lot of that. That was absent from Promare. It was just very, like, I don't know what to, there was an absence of any sort of like, oh my god, no, he's a boy, I would never kiss him sort of thing. Like, that wasn't there. Or like, yeah, I care strongly about this other male character because he's like my...
God, this looks nothing like an Arcanine.
I mean, it's fine. It's fine. I think it's a cute iteration. It's okay. Oh my god, I love how the Gyarados is just the fucking mouth.
I mean, that's like all you need to see of it.
It's the only thing that will fit in screen. But you wanted to talk about the colors.
Yeah, just the flames of the burnish are pink and blue, which is really nice. Like,
the contrast is really great.
Well, and it works really well for any shot where like there's a lot of fire.
Yeah.
It's just so pretty.
Everything works together. Like, nothing clashes in this movie. Like, they chose their color palette very carefully, and you can tell.
Yeah, Studio Trigger knows what they're doing.
I caught the whole, so at the very end, they're super powered back. The whole, like, it looks like it's from Kill la Kill. And I was just like, I see what you're doing there. It's fine. So, I kind of wish I was a bigger fan of Studio Trigger so that I could see all the little isms of Studio Trigger in the movie. But, I mean, as a non-fan, like, I loved it anyways. It's fun, it's great. Like, please go see it.
Please give them your money.
Please give them your money. Please go see it when it comes out in December again. I don't know when this episode comes out, so it might be...
Who fucking knows?
It might not come out in time. But, like, I pre-ordered the Leo
well,
statuette.
if I hadn't sent it to you.
I would, yeah. If you hadn't sent it to me, I would have been like, aw, shit, oh well. But, like...
So, specifically,
it's a 1 to 7 scale statuette for like $120.
Well, it's extra funny because I was at work when I saw it, and I was talking to Natalie about it, my coworker, and I was like, I'm about to ruin Mel's whole life. She was like, why? I was like, because I'm showing her an expensive figurine of her favorite character, and I know she's gonna cave and get it.
I mean, the only other time I've caved and bought a really expensive merch item was for Final Fantasy 15.
Yes.
Where I ended up getting both of us the very pricey 1/6 scale figures of Ignis and Noctis.
Yeah.
So I'm fortunate that by the time I got into... You're going to give that Squirtle like sunglasses, right?
Of course!
Okay, good. I'm like, he's a firefighter Squirtle. He has to have sunglasses. He has to rep the Squirtle squad. But I'm fortunate for Final Fantasy 15 that I got into the fandom very late, and so everything was sold out at that time, or mostly everything was sold out at the time. So I didn't end up buying all of the boys. That's not quite reading as glasses. There we go. There we go. Ah, yeah. So while you're finishing up, what else should we talk about Promare?
I mean, it's just overall like a really fun movie. Very excited to get it on DVD so we can have a viewing party for all of our friends who were not able to see it.
It's so good. Like,
it's fun.
And actually, you know what? The theme, let's just talk about the theme of the movie right now. The theme is about how people respond to the apocalypse, essentially. Or like, how do you respond to a global crisis? And on one hand, on one hand, it's like, well, we tried everything we could. We're just going to do this crazy other solution that's not really a solution at all. Like, it's running away from the problem and not addressing the problem. And like, it's going to work for maybe a handful of people, but like, fuck the rest of everybody else. And then the other side, so like one side is super pessimistic, like we can't do anything, so we have to come up with a different solution to like make sure we survive. The other side is like, just fix it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what the problem is, just fix it, just do it. I'll do it myself. And so it's like both Leo and Gallo are just like specifically Gallo is just very optimistic. Like, everything will be fine if you just try hard enough, sort of thing. But also, I appreciate Leo's rage. Like, Leo is a very angry character, and like, he earned it. He earned that anger. So like, I like the juxtaposition of both of them, where they're like, they work together, and Gallo's optimism kind of but directs Leo's rage in a way that I really appreciate. Like, they both work together really, really well.
Yes.
But yeah, just the message is a very optimistic, hopeful movie. Once like
about climate change.
It's about climate change, guys. Yeah.
It really is. Like, we kind of like got home from the theater and we're like, shit, that was a movie about climate change.
Well, I specifically was like, you know what? Promare is my favorite climate change movie. They also had a line that was like, oh, once you're older and you have less time left in the world, you care less about everybody. You care more about saving your own skin and less about everybody else. I'm just like, wow, that was a really big jab.
Oh, yeah.
Dang. But yeah. Oh gosh, I love what you've done here. Why don't you quickly run through?
So I originally was gonna have it be like they're just regular trainers, but I'm like, nah, they'd be gym leaders. Just married gym leaders.
Cute.
And they have contradictory Pokemon of fire and water types.
Yeah, good luck beating this gym, jerks.
Yeah, seriously.
I really like it. It's very cute. And I actually really like your Arcanine. It's very adorable.
It's very dopey.
I don't quite know what's going on immediately behind it to the right.
It's the tail, because I didn't want to draw the rest of it.
Oh, but the tail's in front of it.
Oh yeah, wrap around. Whatever. Don't worry about it. It's like a cat, right?
Not quite. No. But anyways, this episode ran a little long, but like, Promare is important. Go watch it.
Yes, please go watch it.
Please go watch it.
Give your money. But thank you for joining us for this episode of Drawntaneous.
And if you want to see more of Sydney's art, you can find her on Twitter and Instagram at cclunaart, and you can also support us on Ko-fi and Patreon at ccluna.
We'll see you next time.